Hey there, Telangana 10th graders. If you're tuning in right now, I know exactly what you're going through. The clock is literally ticking, the pressure is mounting, and you've got this massive English exam just staring you down. But listen, do not panic because we have absolutely got your back today. Consider this explainer your ultimate, highly structured, rapid-fire revision guide for Unit 1. We're going to break down everything you need to know, strictly sticking to the core facts, so you can walk into that exam hall with total confidence. So take a deep breath, get focused, and let's get you those top marks.
So, let me ask you, are you ready for this exam? Look, it is completely normal to feel a bit of that pre-exam pressure. Honestly, it just means you care. But we want to take all that nervous energy and channel it into laser-focused preparation. You know, the absolute best way to conquer exam anxiety is just through a clear, organized understanding of the material. Today, we're going to efficiently totally conquer Unit 1. By the end of our time together, you're going to have this perfect mental blueprint of the entire first lesson, completely ready to write those long essay answers without even breaking a sweat.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll meet Nick Vujicic. Then, we'll hit the age 13 turning point. Look at how to focus on the possible. Break down the central message, and finally, I'll give you your exam cheat sheet. All right, Section 1, meet Nick Vujicic, from Unit 1, Personality Development.
As you probably already know, Nick Vujicic is the incredible main character of this unit. He was born into a really severe physical reality, completely without arms and without legs. Obviously, that's an immense hurdle to start life with. But before we get too deep into his story, we really need to decode the title of the chapter, Attitude is Altitude. Seriously, if you get an essay question, explaining this metaphor is a guaranteed way to impress your evaluator. Think about what altitude usually means. It's how high up something is, right? Like an airplane in the sky. But here, altitude represents the heights of success, the heights of your life's purpose, and the incredible capability a person can achieve. And the engine that pushes you to that altitude, that is entirely your attitude. It's your positive mindset. Basically, your mindset literally determines how high you can fly in life.
Let's trace Nick's complete narrative arc, because mapping his life out like this is super helpful for your exam. At birth, he faced the massive challenge of having no arms or legs. As he moved into childhood, well, it wasn't easy. The textbook makes it very clear that he was sometimes deeply unhappy. In fact, and this is a crucial detail to remember for your essays, he felt such intense despair that at age 10, he actually tried to drown himself. He genuinely felt he had zero purpose in life. But then, a massive, life-altering shift happens at age 13 when he reads an inspiring article. And that one moment propels him into adulthood where he isn't just surviving, he's thriving as a highly successful global motivational speaker who inspires millions of people.
Which brings us nicely to Section 2, the age 13 turning point. Remember this number, 13. I want you to drill this specific trivia point into your memory right now. When Nick was exactly 13 years old, he read a newspaper article. And it wasn't just any random article, right? It was about a disabled person who had managed to achieve great things, and even more importantly, was actively helping others. Reading this was literally like a lightning bolt for Nick. It sparked this profound realization in his young mind. He realized, hey, if this other disabled person could find meaning and help people, then maybe, just maybe, his own life could actually have a real purpose too. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive psychological shift he made. He went from a mindset of just constantly worrying about the things he could not do because of his physical condition to concentrating with absolute laser focus on the things he could do. He stopped obsessing over what he lacked and started focusing entirely on what he had. And you guys, that right there, that is the absolute essence of personality development.
Let's move to Section 3, focus on the possible.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the sheer variety of physical activities Nick actually mastered. We're talking typing, writing, swimming, playing golf, playing football, and even surfing. He learned to do all of these completely independently, adapting to his circumstances. Oh, and here's a key textbook detail you absolutely should drop into your answers. Remember that he used the small foot on his left hip, which he humorously refers to as his chicken drumstick, to help him balance, type, and kick. So if a question asks for examples of his positive attitude and action, just list these activities out. They are concrete, undeniable proof of his determination.
All right, Section 4, the central message.
It really all boils down to this one singular, powerful quote. Our attitude towards difficulties determines how successfully we face them. The textbook is making a very specific point here. We might not always be able to control the events that happen in our lives. I mean, Nick certainly couldn't control how he was born, but we always, 100% of the time, have total control over how we respond to those events. At the end of the day, it's the response that actually matters.
Nick's whole philosophy, and a massive key point for your exam, is his approach to failure. It's basically a 3-step process. Step 1, face the failure. You see, Nick's greatest strength was never his physical ability, it was always his attitude towards failing. Step 2, keep trying. Whenever he failed, he just absolutely refused to give up. He just kept at it until he succeeded. And step 3, become stronger. He learned that failures and difficulties aren't there to destroy us. Not at all. They are actually a necessary part of the process, specifically meant to build up our ultimate strength.
And finally, Section 5, your exam cheat sheet.
Okay, grab your pens or just take a quick screenshot and lock these details in right now. If a question asks about the context, you note it's Unit 1, Personality Development. The main character is, of course, Nick Vujicic. If they ask for the theme or the central idea of the text, you write down exactly this. Positive attitude and determination can overcome difficulties. And if they ask what Nick's life teaches us, like the ultimate lesson, your answer is simple but super powerful. Never give up after failure. Seriously, if you deploy these specific phrases, your evaluator is going to immediately know you perfectly understand the core of this lesson.
So the crucial takeaway point is this: physical limitations cannot stop a person who has determination, confidence, and a positive attitude. Actually, I want you to memorize this exact sentence. Why? Because this is a perfectly crafted conclusion for almost any long-form essay question you might get about attitude is altitude. It just beautifully summarizes Nick's physical reality and directly contrasts it with his internal superpowers: his determination, his confidence, and his attitude.
Let's just end with this final thought. Nick Vujicic conquered what most of the world would consider absolutely impossible. And he did it primarily by managing his attitude. He went from being a struggling, unhappy child to a man who speaks globally, inspiring literally millions of young people to accept themselves and to face life with true courage. Now, you have an exam tomorrow. And yeah, it might feel like a pretty big difficulty right now. But remember Nick's lesson. You can't control the specific questions on that paper, but you completely control your attitude walking into that room. Stay determined, stay confident, and focus on exactly what you can do. You've got this. You are entirely prepared for this, and I am wishing you the absolute best of luck tomorrow.